بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brother and sister, peace be upon you. I welcome you all over you, wherever you are. I welcome you again with your program Fatwa Life. And this is the first part of this uh, Fatwa Life on the 25th of Ramadan, the blessed, that we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to repeat it on all of us with goodness and harmony. The first question tonight: could the money from the zakah and sadaqah funds can that be used toward the construction or renovation of Islamic schools in North America and other non-Muslim countries? If there is a difference in ruling for the new school projects and the established ones. The answer for this, that the charity, the general charity, is there is big issue in there. They have a lot of ease in it. But when you're looking about the zakah, it is already required in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. But Allah Azza wa Jal put the charity, meaning the zakah, for the poor and needy and those who work on it and those who are to soften their hearts and those who have debts and the trespassers and in the sake of Allah. And we have to be very careful when we're talking about building schools or renovating them. So it will be an emergency one. You only go to it when there is a desperate need for it. That's when you look into whatever you can do, the required except by the duties, then you do it. This is in the education places because this is part of the zakah for that is very clear. By the way, for the American Muslim Jurists Association about spending money on or renovating it from the zakah, we tell you so you will understand, so you could see the difference. The majority of the scholars that in the sake of Allah is only for the jihad in the sake of Allah, those who don't take money or their money is not enough for their jihad. And the Hanabila they added, and who did not make the obligated Hajj and can't fund the expenditure, you could pay it from there. So it is better to just use the general funds, not the zakah, only at the time of need. And since the jihad, it could conclude that then it is allowed to use it for the da'wah in the sake of Allah and what helps in it and support its actions. So it will be in the sake of Allah. And with it is the decision of the Islamic fiqh community that belongs to the International Islamic Conference or rule. So you could pay the debt from that, but the payment that the masjid has to do to buy their land or build it or to spend on its da'wah, all you don't pay from it. And then they concluded saying it's beautifying the masjid is disliked, so don't use it even the general charity, except on something that's very, very, very minor. That does not distract the people who pray. The second thing, the father of my girlfriend or friend, he works in the bank, and her mother is a teacher. Can I eat from their food whenever I go to their? I don't know whether it's from the father or the mother. Uh, First of all, there's a mixed part, some halal and some haram. If you eat from it, there's nothing wrong. And you ask Allah that you're eating from the legitimate part. Again, the money that is owned illegitimately, Islamically illegitimately, the sin is on that person. So, for that money to be transferred or to be spent on something, that is something it's okay as long as the uh, people's right is preserved. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he dealt with the Jews and the Christians and the non Muslims buying and selling, and he knew that they eat people's money falsely. He don't have a problem of what you have mentioned. Second question. Uh, if it's going to change the color, then because there's a conference about the makeup, can the woman put any makeup in front of strangers? No, unless she's covering a flaw in her face or something like that, and bringing back the color to the natural color. Or whenever there is somebody to come to get engaged. But so if they block the screen, like that's supposed to block the sun rays, it's not going to change. It's not going to affect anything. Then Allah, then it is okay. We have confiscated money for a company to to free that. I have to pay a fee. I don't have that money. Can I use line credit to pay it and get my own? And I need this money to pay my bills. And how could you do that when everything is depends on the interest rate? So listen, changing the interest rate has no effect on the rule that it is forbidden. Any contract that is require an increase, whether it is fixed or flexible, it is haram. And the banks, they trade in the money in the interest, where they take people's money with a certain interest, and they give it to the one who wants to get a loan for a higher interest rate, and their money is through that interest rate. That's already from both sides sometimes. So if you had no choice to take the money for the river, so this is the only way to get your money that's confiscated, then that's a different issue. There is an ease into that, but you have to pay as whenever you are capable of. If you are given grace period, and I don't think so. Now, if you buy with a credit card, then you have a grace period. In summary, what you have mentioned is not allowed to you. It's not permitted for you unless it is necessity. And every Muslim is responsible for his own decision into making something to look like this is a necessity or not. And you could ask your close khatib, mufti, who is more aware of the situation around you. I expose myself as I give those services so I could get money. I bring experts and I have 30% over the saving as intermediate. But what it looks to the to people that whomever is doing, they have experts. I don't see any form wrong in the services that could be given directly or representing somebody with your own guarantee, because you are the one who's in charge of providing the service, and you are going to guarantee for those who ask for it. Someone is gonna sell in a uh, in an auction, and even if it is a short one, he need to put a limit to them. If it did not pass it, then you can uh, uh, choose not. Can this be accepted? I don't see anything wrong of having the first choice. And there's nobody who said so he could choose from the two sides. It's going to be more beneficial. Uh, a young man, he lives in Europe and he wants to marry a young woman. There is no Muslim. How is going to be engaged and marry her? Well, if she don't have any Muslim, then he could make the engagement, and the Imam of the masjid, he can marry her, because all Muslim leaders represent for those who have no representation in the marriage. Someone is asking, what is the rule? The individuals that are not known in the Arabic world, that don't believe in Sharia, does this take on the Islam or disbelief? I see so many disbelief, discredit people in this question. Is originally you have to be in the company of those who rule by Allah, or rule by Islam, for those who live outside Muslim countries. And I urge you not to take these bid'ah. To call him the Khalil Rahman, it is purifying yourself while you are making yourself the soul mate of, or the soul friend of Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's only for Ibrahim, peace be upon him. In a time of, uh, you know, flirting with my wife, I told her mom, and out of, curiosity, I didn't, I got quiet. Is that they are? No, my brother, that's not. People are used to this as flirting and respect and playing with each other. That's not meant. That has nothing to do. When you intend, when you are angry, and you say that, and he does not, he don't like. So this is not from the heart at all. I paid the kafar 60 needy as do I do anything else? No, akhi, you shouldn't because of this the heart the to fast 2 months if not to feed 60 needy. So if this the heart, do not go to the well, this is not from the heart, so you don't need to do this extra steps that is not required. Ask Allah to give me the righteous wife. How do I soften my heart, my Sheikh? The reasons that go to make your heart lenient is the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jalla at all times. And do not talk more than what the remembrance of Allah, because it'll be harsh on the heart. And the furthest hearts from Allah is the roughest. And to rub on the head of the orphan and to feed the orphan and the widows and to we all know what's going to happen if your heart is full with the ran, which is the sin over the sin. And remember that the hearts they get rusted just like metal, and the only thing gonna wipe it and clean it is the remembrance of Allah. And there's nothing worse than an awareness and the sins. With the an awareness is to repent to Allah Azza wa Jal, and to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to purify you from all sins. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك استغفرك واتوب اليك. We'll stop here inshallah. I will continue on the next part in an hour or so. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد